Hello everyone and welcome to another Global Monthly Video Hop. I'm Rachael Merrick. I am an independent stamping demonstrator from Queensland, Australia. I should know where I'm from. This month's hop is all about a sketch. So let me bring in the sketch for you. It is a slim card. Now I'll admit I am probably not the most confident with a slim card. I feel like the dimensions kind of restrict me, which is not a bad thing. I tend to over embellish and add lots of things to a card. So today's card is reasonably simple. There's still some embellishments. There's a bit of colouring. But overall, there's not as many layers as I probably would normally use. So you can see here, it's asking for, and being in Australia, we use metric. So our base card is 15 by 7.5. Now I'll admit mine is 15.5 by 7.5. I just wanted that little bit extra length in it. When I cut it, I was like, oh, this is not quite big enough. So you can see here, there is the base, then a rectangular piece, then a full length piece across the, here, and then a circle and your sentiment here. So mine is going to look very similar to this in the end. As you can see, a great little sketch for many, many occasions. So let's get started. I'll go through some of the supplies that I'm going to be using today. The colours for starters are these ones. So we've got Shaded Spruce, Pacific Point, Pool Party, Crumb Cake, Flirty Flamingo. Now you'll see on the side of all of my ink pads, when I do a video, you'll see that I've got these letters. These letters, which I cut with my Cricut machine, and they're on with some vinyl. So I've got my brights, my regals, my soft subtles, and my neutrals. So this is a mix today of all the colour families, but it's a very a different kind of colour combination to what I'm used to. Initially I was like the green and the blues and maybe a bit of pale brown. They're more of the male kind of colours, but I threw in a Flirty Flamingo, and you'll see why when you see the stamp set that I have chosen. So I'm going to pop these up here. We'll use those shortly. Now the stamp set for today is In the Moment. So here it is here. Sorry about the glare. In the Moment. I will be using the image down here. I love this one. Oh, I have a dog, so and he is my world. So this is the one that we're going to be using today, and we're going to use the You're in My Thoughts for the sentiment, a very simple one. So I already have those on my stamp block here. Now I have popped this sketch to the end. I'm sorry, to the side, and I will pop it on the end of the video if you want to pause it to use that as well. I am using some baker's twine, okay, and I will be using, to embellish today, some of the subtle shimmer sequins. So these are probably my favourite. I have used a lot. This comes quite full, and I may have to restock. So today I'm going to be using the white ones. Now I don't use the white ones all that often, so I'll pop that to the side, and we are going to be using a blender pen. You don't see these used as much anymore, but these are one of my original tools. When I first started playing around with stamps and card making with Stampin' Up many years ago when my children were little, and we did it as a play group, a group of mums that got together once a month. We purchased stamps from our demonstrator, who was fabulous, and we swapped stamps and shared inks and gossiped over coffee and cake and had a really good time. And in the end, we ended up creating cards and having people over to our house as our turn to host the kids and the mums and have a morning of fun. So that's where I started with Stampin' Up and with card making. And I did take a bit of a break for many years. My past is scrapbooking and quilting and a few other bits and pieces. So, but card making I love because it's fast and it's very satisfying to give someone your handmade card and they appreciate it. I do have some dimensionals we'll be using. And now I'm going to bring in our cardstock and papers. Now, the Celebrate Everything paper pack is amazing in the catalogue. It's a hostess gift or hostess available, and it is full, chock-a-block full of so many different patterns and themes. So, excuse me, I've chosen these two DSP, and this is where I got the colours from. So you've got the Pool Party in here, you've got the Shaded Spruce and the Pacific Point. So I've pre-cut some of my elements, and when we put it together, I'll tell you what the dimensions are for each one. So let's get started. You have to excuse me, I have got a bit of a croaky throat today. So we're going to start by putting down our background. So here is my my Pacific Point, and it is folded and scored. The dimension, the finished dimension is 7.5 by 15.5. Like I said, I added that extra little bit of wiggle room. And here we go. So that is my back. I use the multi-purpose glue, the white Tombow glue. And I always put my matted layers together before putting them on the card. So this is my first one. It is, and I have written it on here in pencil, you won't be able to see it, but it is 6.5 centimetres by 14.5 centimetres. And my white matting is 6.8 by 14.8 centimetres. So it's just a very small margin to go around. And I use my glue, pop it on here. This is, like I said, a quick and simple card once it's all cut and put together. And I'm going to glue this straight down onto my card base as well. I know some people go crazy with the glue. I haven't had a problem with any cards coming unstuck when I just do the outside like I have. And literally you just hold it in place for a few seconds and it is stuck well and truly. Now I'm going to go ahead and do some of my stamping now. So I am using, like I said, the crumb cake for the little sentiment off the side, and here is my sentiment here, you're in my thoughts. So a sentiment, I like to do tone on tone often, but for today, so normally I would use crumb cake, but for today I'm going to use the Pacific Point ink onto my crumb cake. Now, I'm not going to use this entire width, I'm going to trim it back, but this was a piece of scrap that I had in the crumb cake, so we're going to just double check that that's all nice and ready, and I'm going to pop it down. Now I'm quite heavy when it comes to, oh dear, turn it over. I'm quite heavy when it comes to stamping, and I don't need to be, especially when my ink pads like this Pacific Point one is very juicy. Now I don't know, I know there's lots of different ways of cleaning stamps, but I revert back to my original Stampin' Scrub, and I'll reach across and get my stamping mist as well. And yes, mine aren't in the container, mine are separate. And I did this years ago because I was using it for some classes, and I needed to have more than one Stampin' Scrub because I would go and wash it in between because it got really dirty. So a little bit of my stamping mist, give it a good scrub and dry it off in the bottom there. And it comes out so clean, so easy. Pop that one to the side. Okay, so I'll pop this away for the minute. We are going to be doing some colouring. So for the colouring, I'm going to pop that one aside, pop this one aside for a minute, pop this one aside for a minute, and here is my circle that, excuse me, I've already cut. Now, we are using our blender pen. So I'm going to use StazOn. Now StazOn is a permanent ink. It's different to Memento, so it's a solvent ink. If you were using, for example, blender pens for this, you would use Memento, but because I'm going to be using this, which has a little bit of alcohol in it, but there's also glycerin and things in the blender pens, so they are acid free. They are a great little tool if you want to start colouring and you don't have the money to invest in things like blender pens, then these are, Stampin' Blends, then these are a great start because you can use them with any colour of your ink pads. So let's get started with stamping our image. And my voice is croaky today, I'm so sorry. My asthma is playing up. Where we live, there is a lot of flowers, and they're all out in bloom at the moment, and I'm suffering for it. I have just spent some time away on holidays in a lot of air conditioning, and that does trigger it as well. So hopefully in a day or two, when I'm back at work, it will be all gone. Now I'm going to pop this image. Now it will go off the edge a little bit, and now this is where I get really, really heavy with my trying to press down and get that image down on there. StazOn is not as juicy of an ink pad as some of our others, and I do need to cover it up very quickly because it does evaporate quickly. I always ink it up after every couple of goes because it does, it is affected very quickly. Now let's cross our fingers and hope that came out lovely. Again, you can use your so you can see there, it's already got the stamping mist on it. Give it a really good scrub. And like I said, because I've got these separated, I use the top for cleaning, the bottom for drying, and there it is, nice and clean. Pop the cover back onto this and the lid and pop it to one side. So here we have our image all ready to go. So what I will do is I will start with, I'm going to start with the crumb cake, I think. So I will take these off because this is going to be tricky. So to do this, oh dear, so sorry. To do this, I'm going to use a acrylic block. I'm going to dip it in to the corner, and you can see my ink on there. I'm going to use that instead of, we used to in the old days, and people still do, press on our ink pad and then you get ink on the inside. I don't like to do that. I like to keep my ink pads fairly clean. So I do this instead. So this is the tip of a blender pen. You can see it's got, I don't know if that's going to focus. Let me have a quick look. There we go. Oh, it did focus. It's got a little bit of colour on the end, and the reason being is it does over time stain. It does not come out in your colouring, however. So let me come back down here, and we're going to start with picking up quite a lot of it, and you just work in very small sections. And I'm going to make this puppy dog with his brown, and then I just use circles to blend it out. Now I find this kind of colouring, or to be honest, any kind of colouring, really therapeutic, really, really, I don't know what the right word is, relaxing, I guess would be the right word. So we don't want to colour the entire dog in, but I do want to add a little bit of shadow, and you can see I just work in small sections. You can add extra, you just have to do it in very small amounts because it doesn't dry as fast as our Stampin' Blends. But you can see there I'm picking up different sections with additional colour to make it multi-tonal. There we go. So you can see that. See that? Okay, and I'm going to add just a little bit to her hair. It's not, this is very much a sketchy sort of feel to it. Now to get rid of the colour, you just have a scribble pad, and that's what we use. So the next part will be, I'm going to use my Pacific Point. Again, I'm going to use a corner, a new corner this time. Add a little bit of colour on my block and pop it in. So her book is going to be blue. And you can see with some colours, those the ink does blend out beautifully. If you work fast, it's sort of you do get more lines, I guess, in it. If that's the way you want to sort of look at it, is it's not as smooth a colouring as our blender pens, but you get some nice texture in there, which is always nice too. Okay, that's our Pacific Point. The next one I'm going to use is our Flirty Flamingo. If I can get it open. Oh dear. Okay, I'm going to replace it over to this side. And use a different corner of my acrylic block to pick up some pink. Now some colours do blend better than others, and the pink, yeah, it's okay. The lighter colours sometimes tend to give a better look. But that's okay, I like the look of this. And it, like I said, the option of just adding extra. Now, if you want to avoid that line look, you can colour more in circles and just keep adding more and more. The circles kind of blend a little bit better. Now I am going to add, she's going to have matching pink pillows. There we go, I'm doing circular motions for the pink pillows. Go. And getting closer. The next colour I'm going to use is going to be a shaded spruce. Again, not using a lot of this one. Pool Party will feature a fair bit. So there is my shaded spruce on my corner. And our mug is going to be green. Last of all, Pool Party. Now the Pool Party, and I'll show you on this one, my ink pads are a little bit funny. You can hold it and squeeze that, and you get a little bit of ink there. See, it's hard. It's the older ink pads were actually easier because they were a bit more flexible. And then you just dip in like this. I'm going to do all of the sheets highlighted in Pool Party. And you can see I'm actually running out of ink already. So what I am going to do is I'm going to bring in a baby wipe. Like I said, I don't like my ink pads to be dirty, so I am going to clean it up first, like so. Then I'm going to clean off my block with all those other ink colours on it. I'm going to use my block to pick up a fair bit because I'm going to need a fair bit. And it's not a dark colour, Pool Party, so you can afford to pick up a lot and use it. And you can see the difference there just by picking up extra. Okay, and again, she's going to have the same colour for the wrap or the doona or whatever it is. I sort of imagine this is a bit of a matching set that she's draped over the top of herself. She's nice and cozy on the bed or on the lounge or wherever she is. Okay. Now the one thing that I do always feel is missing in this image, and that's the skin colour. Now, Stampin' Up used to have several really good alternatives for skin colour. Not so much so now. So I am going to add one colour in, even though it's not our base colours. And that is, oops, Petal Pink. And excuse me, I'm just leaning across and grabbing it. Petal Pink, it's not probably the best. Many years ago we had, I think it was called Pirouette Pink, and that was perfect for skin colours. Making sure I'm just cleaning off that end of that brush, picking up a little bit and adding it in as an accent. Like I said, it's not the best, but it will do. And her little white socks. Might even add a little bit in here for the dog, because it kind of matches in with his crumb cake. So that is my finished image. I'll bring it up closer to the camera so you can have a better look. Like I said, it has more of that watercolor sketchiness kind of look to it, using the blender pen. The only thing I have to say is they don't last forever, so make sure that you do put your lid back on it, which is something I'm terrible for. But let's bring in the rest of the things to make the card and finish it off. So like I said before, here we go. I've got this one. It is 7 by 7.5, and this is going to go directly onto here. However, I am going to pop it up using some dimensionals. So let's get ahead and do that. One in each corner. Now I do love the backing of this DSP, because a lot of the sets, a lot of the papers that are in the set have a black and white theme on the back. And look, there is everything from Halloween to birthdays and celebrations to you know, more neutral and fun colours and themes in the DSP. This is where I'm going to pop this one slightly off to the side. I didn't want it directly in the middle because it kind of, I like things a little off center, so it's going to go a little off to the side. So I'm going to glue that one down only in the center, and you'll see why in a minute. Now be very careful, because that can be still a little bit wet. And we're going to pop it over to the side like so, and just in the center. I'm going to add some twine shortly. Okay, now for our very small, and that's okay, sentiment. I'm going to start by trimming it back. And then this side as well, so it's only a small sentiment. So, get rid of the scraps. So it's going to be across here. I was originally going to do it from the corner where the sketch said. I'm not very good at following instructions, so it's not going to be there now. Now I'm going to keep it straight like that. Straight, plain, boring, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to pop it to the side there. So obviously I'm going to need dimensionals for that. So I've got our minis. Don't mind the fact that it's all cut up, because that's the way I use mine. And I'm going to pop some of these on the back. They should just fit. Yes, they do. Look at that. So a couple of these along the way will help. I've just got to be careful not to put too many on the end. So that should be about right. So I'm going to take these bits off and then add a little bit of glue on the end here. That will bring all our layers up to the same height. There we go. Like I said, a very plain card for me. Now to add embellishments. So this is the fun part. Start with some twine. Now, we did talk about twine in a little meeting we had recently. I'll use this one. I just have a spray can handy. I'm just going to wet my fingers. And I'm going to run my twine through my wet fingers, and this straightens it out a little bit. I'm going to cut off a section of twine and just make sure that it's nice and straight. It just makes tying a bow much easier. So we're going to tie a bow, and yes, I do end up with excess all the time, and I just do a simple bow like that. Try to get it as even as I can and then trim off. This one is actually going to go underneath. So to do that, and don't mind me because I tend to do this, I fiddle with it so much and then end up placing it probably not where I was going to begin with. An upside down bow in here that's where I'm trying to get it. I might use my tweezers, turn my card around. I'm going to pop a little bit of glue. You could use a glue dot for this. I just want to make sure I can get it in the spot that I want first. Here we are. And hold it there for a second whilst it dries a little. And I really love the effect that that gives without it being a bow. It gives those sort of looped elements, and it's not really a bow. So I'm going to do one more. Try to do a small one this time. So that time I didn't have to remove it. I'm going to pop it this side underneath as well. Again, bit of glue on top, use my tweezers, lift up this bit so you can see now why I didn't glue the whole section down. I only did the middle so that I can pop elements underneath. Almost finished. So now for the fun part, I'm just going to clean up a little bit around here. These subtle shimmer sequins. Like I said, I'm going to use the white ones, and I'm going to go fairly heavy with these. So I'm going to start with our white glue. I'm just going to pop some dots of glue down. Like I said, not a lot. Now when it comes to elements like this, if you can try and figure a triangle, for the most part, that's probably going to help you. Making it look a little more balanced, I guess would be the right word. And I am going to add one or two over here as well. Now I'm going to take my pick tool. I'm going to use the putty end, and I don't use much on the end, just ever so gently. Pick up one of your sequins, pop them down, and it should sit flat on there. So there is a variety of colours or shades in this pack of sequins. And they add just the gentlest of elements without being, too out there. So, and they are, there's more than one size as well. There's small, medium and large. Sometimes the putty works too well, and my little pointy end tweezers have to come in handy instead. And yes, it is strong enough, the white glue, to hold all of this in place. Some of my sequins have stuck together over time, I think. They've got a little bit of glue in them. There go. Like I said, hard to see some of them, but it's supposed to be a subtle shimmer. This one's not cooperating. Just to stay put. There we are. So this is our finished card. Like I said, using the In the Moment stamp set. I'll bring the card up to the camera a little bit closer so you can see. Very simple, very soft, even though we're using more masculine type of colours in it. And you can see you have to be very careful with your colouring because sometimes it will peel as well. So thanks everyone for joining me. Hopefully you will give the sketch a go and you will join us again next month. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, not only to this video and my channel, but also to all the others that are linked below. We are a team of Stampin' Up demonstrators from around the globe that get together once a month and hopefully inspire a few people out there. We will see you next month. Thanks everyone.